3 of those picks get left up, it's either take one of them and give up the other 2 to LGD side. So potentially tough decisions having to be made for TES. The Orianna for Creme, though, certainly a specialty of his and also one of Tangyuan. So not surprised to see that one locked in early.
Surely you just pick up Rise here as LGD, and another champion that has become a staple of competitive play right now in the jungle is Jarvan. He's a champion we haven't at all seen for Heng so far this split, which is, again, incredibly surprising. Right now, it seems like the jungle hierarchy is Naafiri and then Vi Jarvan. Those are kind of the first 3 you're looking for in a game 1 of Fearless. Tangyuan is hovering it. We're going to get a lot game here, so really, really oppressive. We are playing on 2615, so does have some nerfs, but I think even despite that, this champion has been such a lane bully.
Yeah, and also has the ability to get out on the map early, have some impact in these side lanes, and who better to join him than a Lee Sin in the jungle for Heng. We mentioned that this has been one of Tian's most played champions. Obviously has a skin for it just by winning Worlds on it about 7 years ago to the day. So makes sense to see a takeaway of that pick specifically. We'll see what exactly Top Esports want to match up with here to round out their first rotation of picks. I'd imagine top jungle would make sense here, so the Rumble for Zuian just gives him a little bit of extra early power. However, it does mean that they are very magic damage gated, and that gets solved easily with an Ezreal for JackeyLove.
Ezreal for JackeyLove, and we get Zuian the Rumble. That feels pretty good. You said they're magic damage reliant, but they have a ton of setup. They have great team fighting, and Ezreal just allows for so much playmaking from JackeyLove. I think it's going to be really tough. LGD do not have any kind of consistent crowd control, and while their mobility can be, flexible and use that to their advantage, I think the fact that they're not going to have consistent tools to take down champions like the Orianna or the Ezreal could provide to be problematic as we get down into this game. So top side picked here for LGD. We've got bot laners ready for Top Esports. Now it's about what are the supplemental pieces. I like the Poppy ban. I need to see a lot more setup coming in from LGD before this team comp even looks remotely playable.
Yeah, we're not on the new patch yet, so things like roaming supports haven't been touched as much, so still abilities for the Camille's, the Pikes to come in for somebody like Crisp to try to continue to add to this early skirmishing playstyle that LGD have set up for themselves in the first 3 picks. We're still looking for supports on both sides, a jungler over for Top Esports, and then most likely that bottom lane pick, unless Shaoye locks in the lock again like he did I think a little bit earlier on in the season against BLG.
Yeah.
Final ban going to be a Lucian against Shaoye to try to deny that Lucian Milio laning prowess. We'll see what exactly Shaoye wants to lock in here and if there's any flexibility to be had.
I think you just got to pick Varus. Like, Varus, Ashe are the 2 AD carries that I would say kind of help this composition from LGD. Origin, those are my 3, because all of them have some kind of crowd control that they can use to set their team up. Again, every time we talk about Mbessa, it's like, the champion's cool, but that ultimate takes way too long to wind up, and you're on 0 ping, you're going to be able to dodge out on that. Ashe gets locked in. Does Top Esports try to take this away and go for Ezreal plus Seraphine? Because the answer to that so far has been Ashe Lulu. And that, again, could be really unfun to play against when you're getting outranged and it's like, well, I want to play Lulu, but there's an Orianna and a Rumble, and now I don't get to play the game.
Still have the Milio available as well. Could try to deny any Lucian lanings later on in the series because of that Fearless takeaway. Gonna be the Seraphine. That will be locked in for Zhuo. We have seen Top Esports really thrive off of deviating from that roaming support style, going more for a heavy 2v2 focus, so this does make a lot of sense for them. Waiting for a jungler to finish out their composition, and who better to pair alongside a Seraphine than something like a Xin Zhao, who can really benefit from the early Enchantress power. That's going to get locked in, and Top Esports have a great team fighting composition here in game number 1.
Look, Top Esports, they might have the vanilla ice cream of drafts right now in Tier 1, but I love it, man. It is just so consistent.
I love
you
vanilla.
get that nice flavor on it thanks to the cream in the mid lane. It's just too beautiful there. And you get this, in basically this supercharged Xin Zhao later on. That's going to have an Orianna Shockwave following him anywhere he wants, and then the Seraphine to empower him with the ultimate. I think LGD have so much pick potential, and if they can make the early game scrappy, if we can see them start to make some of these matchups a little unstable, look for picks with this Lock or this Ashe, then I think that LGD could have a game on their hands and potentially open up the series with a win.
It does feel like that's something that their team has been able to do throughout the season, right? Make things scrappy against some of the top teams in the league, take games off of them because of that chaotic style. We've seen other teams like ThunderTalk also take advantage of this kind of more volatile playstyle that has shaped the meta over the recent weeks. We'll see if this composition is able to accomplish that, because that is the goal of what these 5 champions that LGD have locked in intend to do. Establish dominance in the bottom lane with this Ashe Lulu, allow for your top side, specifically the mid jungle of the Lock Lee Sin, to really make impact across the map across the first 15 minutes. If LGD can do that, get out to a 1,000 to 2,000 gold lead early, that would be a great sign for them for things to come.
They've got really strong scalings as the game goes on. Lock's early game against Orianna so far in pro play has been pretty decent, and Mbessa should be able to hold her own and will pick off the Rumble later on. It's just, can you get to that point, and can we establish priority? That's going to be the name of the game.
Second series about to begin. It's LGD against Top Esports.
That was crazy from the LGD fans. They let that guy, the fan chants, man.
We'll get there.
What?
We'll get there next game.
They're
we'll
here for game two.
VOD review it, guys. We'll pick it up.
We get 2 T1 skins, 3 of them. Zhuo and Tian are using the new world skins, and we've got the Mbessa here for Burdol. I just wonder if Heng is also using T1 Lee Sin.
A lot of respect to your defending world champions. Both these teams want to try to be at that event in North America later this year. Top Esports obviously in a much better position at this point, both based off of their current standings and also the championship points that they have generated already. But if you are LGD, still opportunities to go on that miracle run. We've seen teams like WE do it in the past. LGD going to try to replicate that a bit, as we see Creme already having a terrific trade against Tangyuan in the mid lane, putting out the dissonance, setting him down to 100 HP. It's a really good start here for Creme.
That's the best part about taking Summon area on Orianna, is if you can run down the enemy laner, the area is going to come back to you so much quicker, and then you're just going to be able to take them down. The electrocute proc just did nothing to him. Creme is walking up, he's completely stancing him, he's zoning him from the minion wave, and they know both junglers aren't going to be here anytime soon, so this is a really good start for Creme in a matchup that so far we have seen go in favor of the Lock.
Yeah, I mean, it's these early levels that you can maybe take advantage of this range versus melee. If you are Creme, Lock is a champion that is supposed to scale a little bit, which means the early game is not as powerful until you hit maybe level 5 or
they
level
lied
6.
to you, man. They lied to you. They're like, guys,
I'm
don't
just
worry.
saying-
We'll put a stacking element to his ultimate. But you know who else got nerfed for that? Pyke. We nerfed Pyke to get rid of that all those years ago. I don't know why we gave it to an AP champion, but thankfully he's been nerfed into oblivion.
They're not as powerful as on release, thankfully for many of us, although obviously still making its name in the meta. I mean, we've still seen, I think, like, what is it, 2 Lock pentakills already here in the LPL split. Tangyuan looking to become the 3rd, already having some heavy trading once again, getting that gray health, and this is where you really can take advantage of the heavy trading playstyle that this Lock can provide.
I haven't talked too much about the early jungle pathing. Tian and Heng were pathing originally away from each other, but look at this. I mean, Creme's been trading so heavily in mid lane. Now it's going to be him getting his Raptors taken away, as Tian should be able to help Zhuo. This is tough for Heng.
It is a double longsword advantage for the Lee Sin, and Tangyuan is here first. Creme going to join him, though, as the Sonic Wave goes in onto the Xin Zhao. Zhuo has to flash away. Tangyuan still blinking, and nobody ends up going down with a couple flashes burned on Top Esports side.
Tian can just fully heal up, sit in his jungle, get his HP back, and then take his Raptors. Worthwhile trade. Tian loses his flash, but he just stole enemy raptors. That is going to feel like a very big win here for top esports, who are the ones that are okay with a scrappier early game, but are definitely okay with a game going a little bit longer, letting us hit our 1 and 2 item power spikes with Ezreal and Rumble and Xin Zhao. So LGD, we're 4.5 minutes in. You still got a ton of time and a lot of a leash here in this game, but we got to get active. We got to start looking for something. We got to get A lane to win.
Yeah, we talked about the explosivity on LGD's side. It's not necessarily a late game focused composition for top esports. As you mentioned, they really spike around that 1 to 2 item mark. Once you can get, you know, the Triforce Mermana for JackeyLove, I think, and you get the Sunder Sky for Tian, that's really where top esports is going to be able to thrive. Those 20-minute Baron setups, early third or fourth dragons. But it's the first 10 minutes, really, where LGD are going to want to try to take advantage. They haven't been able to generate much of a lead in any specific lane. Bot lane is starting to get pushed, and Heng is searching for a gank, but I don't think that JackeyLove and Zhuo are in much of a position to get punished for it. So instead, it'll be a take of the second Gromp. Tian is on the way and lands the Audacious Charge. One becomes Lightning, also connecting. But Heng has to use his flash to escape. Chris jumping back in. Oh, so does Heng, and he smites away the Gromp. And now top esports could be looking to try to punish. The Wind Becomes Lightning connects onto Chris, but nobody else will continue the assault. And so LGD will get away with just stolen away jungle camp.
If he doesn't steal that jungle camp, you know, let's dust our hands off and just get ready for game number 2 here, because that is tough as a jungler, just losing all of those camps. Level 6 now hit here by Tangyuan, and there's going to be all this focus moving into the top side. Lulu's already recalled. Zhuo and JackeyLove are still in their lanes. I think this should be an advantage, and this would be Tian getting level 6 if they get this.
They are here first, and knowing that Heng could be at this Scuttle Crab, end up punishing him and taking first blood. Public execution goes down, though, and the Purgatory will execute Zuian, as it's now a 3v2 with Chris joining the party. Shockwave only finds one, as Tangyuan still remains alive and will take Tian down for a double kill. Top esports trying to punish down bottom, though, but Shaoye able to survive the 1v2 underneath his turret. One more Mystic Shot and an auto attack should be able to finally finish the kill, and JackeyLove gets the credit for that one. So overall, a 2 for 2 to open up our game, with top esports netting a slight gold advantage.
And Tangyuan getting all of those kills is really problematic. It's a lot of gold and maybe a double kill now going over. Crisp is here.
Ooh, that
He's going to try to save this kill for his jungler.
Got some hands, the glitter and slow. Gonna also tag Zhuo. Heng not able to land the Sonic Wave, so it will just be Chris finishing up JackeyLove, and Heng taking down Zhuo. 2 more kills into the hands of LGD, and they have come here to play in our opening match.
That's a very big win coming on through for LGD. Them getting these 2 kills in topside is such a worthwhile play. Heng gets flashed on. He already lost his flash thanks to the Gromp, but Burdol's really powerful. Tangyuan is also, and I think that the roam from Crisp is what really ties the room together. The solo lanes of LGD find that all by themselves, but it is a flash polymorph from Crisp to get that kill onto Tian. And then they make the play on the bottom side. Shaoye, the dive took way too long. This is a good start, and we need to see more of this. I think if Locke can get fed, he is going to be a monster in the side lanes of this game.
So we talked about the early game playmaking potential on LGD, and we thought the top esports might have tried to jump them a little bit around that top side, but LGD able to punish, and they're looking for another play onto Creme. The Sonic Wave goes through the flash, and Tangyuan goes on a killing spree. Creme dies for the first time this game, and LGD have yet another advantage right as the grubs are about to spawn.
How are you supposed to play against this champion when he has a massive slow on his Q, he has a slow when he throws his ultimate, and he has just a blink that does damage and resets when he gets kills? Like, this champion is ridiculous. The gray health that he has access to on his W. When you're a control mage, you want to take long, extended, multiple combos being sent out. Just not available for him. Great solo, great 1v2 there coming on through, and Tangyuan getting another kill. It's 3 grubs going over to top esports, and maybe an invade for these Gromps, but Heng is still gonna get it. This is such a good opener.
Yeah, you'd think that maybe top esports would not have been able to fight for the grubs because of that death in the mid lane, but Creme was able to teleport back and make it even numbers game again. Speaking of, not going to be the case up on the top lane, as Zuian's already dropped the equalizer, but he's going to be kicked right to his demise. Heng gets another one into his back pocket, and it's 6-2 now for LGD. Tangyuan could be the play on the opposite side, though, as Tian is landing the audacious charge onto him in the mid lane. A huge chunk of damage, and finally a shutdown goes into the Orianna's hand.
There'll be a kill. I still like this here for LGD. They're getting plates in the top side. There's this massive wave that's sitting in mid that Creme still has to change out, and Heng got to take another Krug camp there, so it's gold that's going to get split, but you're feeling really nice about your position here as LGD. You're up 1,000 gold. Looks like you're going to be finishing some really important items coming up soon. Observers, wow. they panned over to mid. They started getting excited for a lock to come on through, but that's not happening. Oh, they even pushed him off the bear.
Yeah,
that
TP had aura, bro. It took him off the dragon. Top Esports not deciding to go for the take of the objective, and now it's Heng that jumps into the pit, and it should be the Drake going to them.
They're pressing tab, and they're like, oh crap, Lee Sin has a Sundered Sky. Ooh, we cannot play this. Okay, we're moving out of that one. Okay, LGD, what else do you got in store for us? You got a lot of playmaking still available. You lost those grubs, but I think right now we're not seeing a ton of turret damage. An ultimate from all the way downtown. Doesn't land, wrong zip code. We're gonna put it on a return to sender.
Shaoye, doesn't lose too much off of that one. He's kind of playing weak side at this point down there in the bottom lane with JackeyLove and Zuian generating a pretty big lead down in the CS department. That is the one advantage that Top Esports currently have. And hey, despite the fact that LGD have gotten off to a hot start, remember that Top Esports haven't really reached all their spikes yet. Still no fully completed item on any player on their side. And so once they start to get those items completed, that's when really their composition is going to start to take form. The fact that it's not even 1,000 gold lead at this point is a very good sign for them.
JackeyLove, man. It feels no fear. No ultimate available. I am going to Arcane Shift into that Essence Flux. You're just going to have to take it, and there's nothing you can do in response. Wave is pushing. Heng is nowhere nearby, and Crisp is kind of like, well, if they go for a dive, at least we'll have vision of it happening, but seems like they want to make a play on mid.
Yeah, Creme doesn't have flash still. Nice in second from Heng. The shockwave only going to deny a little bit of time so far for Creme, but LGD should be able to chase him down. Killing spree in for Heng, and now a teleport gets sent in by the Mbessa. Burdol looking to try to even the numbers game here as Heng comes from mid down to bot, and will look for the play. There's the public execution onto JackeyLove, and the Encore doesn't do a whole too much. Shaoye has to flash away, but they're getting deleted by LGD. Already a 2-for-0 as Zuian has now entered the fray. Equalizer not finding a ton, but the Enchanter Crystal Arrow locks the Rumble down, and now Tian's the only remaining survivor on his side of the map. Lands the win, becomes lightning, gets a little bit of a heal, and has to flash away as LGD win yet another skirmish to the bottom side.
Massive win there for LGD. They get the 2-on-1 kill in mid. They prevent this dive on bottom lane from happening. JackeyLove has flash. How are we getting hit from that? That is mid-air in the shift. And the damage has already been done. We're now using our summoner spells way too late. LGD come up massive in this play, getting multiple kills, preventing their bottom lane from dying, and now they're up 3,000 gold here.
LGD made that play mid. They saw Top Esports try to trade resources for a dive in the bottom lane, and they decided to get a little greedy. They sent the TP into the bottom lane for Burdol. Heng just immediately rotating to try to respond, and they get paid for it in spades. It is 10-3 now on the map, and LGD trying to make it 11. Zuian getting dove by now 4 members of LGD, and this Rumble has nowhere to go but back in the grave for 26 seconds.
Such a big win. Look at the map. Where are Top Esports responding? Oh, that's right, nowhere. A turret will go over for their troubles. It seems like they will get first turret here for Top Esports. That is commiserations for what is an amazing play here for LGD, punishing the fact that Zuian just teleported and will not have Equalizer to keep himself alive there. And by the way, Shaoye, he got his bot lane quest right before that kill onto Zuian, so he just got even more gold for the takedown there. Tangyuan, come on, bro.
Might not have even needed the jungler around this time. Doesn't end up going for that all in. And now it is Top Esports, a bit of a larger hole than they probably would have liked to be in at the 14-minute mark. Maybe a bit of a caster curse for us. We were hyping up Zuian, and now he's 0-4, but it feels like it's not all his fault. He's really been targeted by LGD by the nature of their composition. Heng and Tangyuan have just been there a ton.
They're making good picks, and he got pulled into what was a disastrous bot lane play. Hey guys, we didn't get the dive off. Do we really got to bring our Rumble? He TP's late to that play. Now they're just going to put 3 people on mid. For top esports, it's about, hey, our composition is really strong on 1 and 2 items, and we're going to have a strong team fight, but if our opponents are up 3,000 gold, 1,500 gold for the likes of Burdol and Heng, well, are the fights actually going to be as even as we would want? I don't think that's going to be the case, and Creme, by him going the Blackfire Torch, has actually elected for a build that's going to be a little less bursty. It's not our Ludens. It's not, you know, things that are going to have high AP ratios. Really trying to leverage the massive amount of ability haste, especially by picking up these Boots of the Swift March.
Yeah, need a little bit more of that consistent damage in the late game. That seems to be where top esports is now looking to try to make their impact in this game. I mean, fighting at the 1 item power spike mark is good for TES, but Heng all of a sudden has a 2nd item. Burdol already has that Hex Drinker. Tangyuan working towards a 2nd item as well. Like, it is not an even playing field anymore like it was maybe a few minutes ago. Top esports would have been maybe comfortable fighting down 1,000 gold. Now that it's 2K, could be a different story, but they might not have the option to say no as the arrow comes in onto Shaoye, and Tangyuan lands another execute with the Purgatory. TS going to try to burst it down this Herald, and Tian does land the smite, but it could be a one-way journey for him. The Crescent Guard not going to do anything, as now Burdol at the public execution underneath the tower will find the kill onto Creme. It'll be a 1-for-1 with a shutdown going into the Ori's hands, but still a good trade for LGD on multiple areas. Here on Summoner's Rift, JackeyLove now has to shift away, and Heng's continuing his pursuit.
He's dead.
That Sonic Wave, the Resonating Strike, and the Dragon's Rage sends him all the way over to the bottom side, where he'll remain dead as LGD take another Drake.
LGD are just making it look easy against top esports right now here, Grapes. I mean, the map situation was awful for top esports. You had an Mbessa facing off into an Orianna, and Orianna had 0 ways of playing. Look at the bottom lane right now. All of those wards placed by LGD make it impossible for this Orianna to step back up, and top esports go, okay, let's try to start at the Herald. LGD just make the march all the way across the map. They get all of these kills. They don't take the Herald, but then they still end up killing almost everybody off of top esports. It just feels like LGD can do no wrong. Their lane assignments are better because of the state that they have the game in right now. This is the pandemonium they needed to induce, and now they're being rewarded with 2 dragons and a 5,000 gold lead.
Yeah, they've been playing exactly to their composition strength, which is heavily aggressive in the first 15 minutes. And they have certainly been rewarded for it, as you mentioned. Heng on the Lee Sin, 6-1-7. Going to try to make an impact in the mid lane is TES, but Chris just able to flash away from the audacious charge. No major objectives to fight over right now, so LGD just have more opportunities to farm up, get to those 2nd item spikes, and look to do everything all over again in just another couple minutes.
Because of the control that LGD have, similar to what I was talking about before this play, it is really tough for top esports to find gold inside lanes and gold for their jungler. So kind of feels like on all sides, the game is starting to get constricted around them. They can't overextend on sides because Mbessa and Lee Sin or Locke could just fly in from stage left and take your head off. You can't go into your own jungle because it's just littered with wards thanks to Crisp and the rest of LGD. So for top esports, now it comes down to whatever waves we're allowed to actually farm, is that going to be enough? And another one, man. Here we go. That has to just be Creme dying.
He thought from a while ago, wasn't able to end up going down because of it, however, as Zuo with the Encore ends up saving Creme's life. We'll see how much that matters in the long run, though, as LGD still going to be able to get a lot of what they wanted off of that play. A heavy siege on the bottom lane, tier 2, going to be in order, as it's the bot lane pushing here with Tangyuan in mid. Zuian waiting potentially for an equalizer, but with Tian dashing forward, they will not look for more.
I just love the way that LGD were moving there. They had Shaoye sitting in mid, and then they just have this Lee Sin Lulu combo sitting in Fog of War, where top esports can't do anything. They have no vision. It's just now where they're able to try to contest, and it makes these lanes like death sentences. I mean, Zuian might be dead, and he's not all that far up.
Another ward hop kick. Heng has been on fire here in this game. Kill goes over to Crisp, because why the hell not? The Lulu is on a killing spree, and that just shows the level and state of this game right now.
It's so tough now. LGD can continue to feel more and more empowered to just take these small chips. Hey, Zuian, you're sitting at your mid-tier one. Guess what? That's too far, bud. You're dead now. Hey, Tian, you wanted to contest your Wolves or your Gromp or your Blue? Well, Mbessa is pushing on this side of the map. You're also not going to get access to those camps. LGD are going to look to take themselves a bottom lane tier 2 with those 2 grubs they were able to get earlier on into the game. And now Dragon's going to spawn in a minute and a half. This play's really got to work for top esports, baby.
Yeah, they're sending the kitchen sink down at the LGD top side. Public execution immediately on to Zuian, and Burdol is able to use every dash in his kit to get away from that teleport. So a summoner spell basically for nothing, as Burdol will be able to escape. We have the Baron spawning in 10, but no way top esports can try to punish Burdol for going for that. Instead, it'll just be resetting here. And still a really bad state here if you're a TS fan.
It's time. We look at it. A minute before this dragon spawns, we just want to give Heng the cool cam. This is a rather dry kill. There's not much flair to this one.
Hey, back in like 2012, that would have been like in every highlight reel. That would have been
You're
like
right.
people back then, like Insect did that one time, and everyone's like, whoa, this is crazy. Now you're like just waving it off. Kind of goes to show the level of gameplay that we have seen improve here in competitive League of Legends. LGD thought about doing the Baron for a little bit. The True Shot Barrage spots it out. It would make much more sense, Hulk, I would say, to fight over this dragon that spawns at 30.
Yeah, because it's sole point here if LGD are able to grab this. Also, again, plates and objective bounty feels so nice for top esports. They need to be hunting for Heng and Crisp. They have the bounties on their heads, and that's a 700 gold sitting over top of this Lee Sin. If they can pick him off, that's 1K in your bank account, and hopefully you can chew away at this gold lead that LGD have now. Tangyuan getting half of his health taken down, but this is Chemtech Rift, so there's going to be these nice, juicy honey fruits sitting around, and maybe Tangyuan just recalls and teleports.
They also do that, but top esports going to have the advantage to start up this dragon. Zuian actually catches Tangyuan off and cancels his reset. TS do have that 2-headed power spike on Creme.
He's nowhere near the fight now, though.
Could this be enough to overcome a 7,000 gold lead? Public execution going in immediately onto the Ezreal. He flashed away, but right into the arms of the Lock, who takes him down with the Purgatory and is hunting Zhuo down on the backside. Dragon secured by Heng, and Burdol unkillable against 3 members of top esports. He'll eventually drop to Zuian, but he's bought more than enough time to allow for Tangyuan to finish off the rest of the fight. It is still Zhuo doing a lot and helping his top laner, but it does not matter. It's a double kill in for Tangyuan, and LGD find themselves on top again.
And top esports think, hey, we have our top laner here. He should be able to zone out the Lock, but the mistake here, look on the minimap right here. He is going for the minion wave. He has no equalizer. He went the wrong direction to try to pick this off, and Tangyuan with this nasty flank. Top esports did not expect Lock to be behind them, and that just completely unravels their dragon attempt. Soul point secured for LGD, and another bunch of kills going over to this team. Tangyuan is just resetting off of his mind, and Burdol's Mbessa just looks so clean.
Well, LGD thought maybe a 2-man Baron was not actually the play. They started it up, then saw the bot lane arrive on TES's side, and now we'll head back to base. They'll still take that win. It's soul point for them, a 7,000 gold lead. Creme maybe going to try to catch out Tangyuan. He does cancel the reset with that rocket belt, but no other reinforcements are there. So Tangyuan will be able to head back to base and continue to add to his tremendous lead. He's got 10 stacks on this Dark Seal, 2 fully completed items, and now he has that Seekers for even more survivability.
Just gets tougher and tougher now as top esports. The game's getting further and further away from you. Burdol, level 15.
Looking for a pick here. Mbessa not connecting the ultimate. Burdol will go down. That is a big pickup here for top esports. We'll see what they can do off of it. Should certainly be this top lane tier 1 turret, but no with real threat at a Baron at this point.
Lock still pushing out bottom lane. Zuian can hold this mid wave. This might turn into more gold here for TES. They'll get this next wave. It looks like instead of pushing for more, they're just going to set up around this blue side. They just need to prevent LGD from starting up a Baron, because while their team fight is nice, you would much rather be the team with Orianna and Seraphine to be the ones at the Baron already and let the opponents walk into you. So it's a small gold lead being cut away at, but LGD are still incredibly dominant, and they're the same level, and I'm pretty sure Tangyuan actually wins this.
dueling this out between Tangyuan and Zuian. Zuian flashes on top of the lock, forces him to go golden, and it's not a 1v1 anymore as Creme has arrived. Picks up a 900 gold shutdown and another big swing back into top esports' side. But Heng and Shaoye deciding to start this Baron off despite their mid laner being dead. And it's just another ploy to try to allow for top esports to respond to them, and they will force them off of the Nash once more.
That attempt onto Nasher may not seem like a lot, but to me it feels okay. The game is starting to get away from us. We're starting to slip away from consistent enough side lane plays, good enough team fights from us. That is just something where you kind of just show up to the Baron, you don't put a ton of resources in, but then I look at the side lanes. That kill onto Lock allows for Zuian to push this lane, and Crisp almost gets taken down.
JackeyLove does not have the true shot barrage. If he had that ability, it could have been the Lulu going down. The momentum started to shift though here, Alk. It was a 7,000 gold lead 5 minutes ago. That has been cut in half at the 25-minute mark.
I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe a team that is 20-9 could lose this lead. But it's always possible, right? Not only because it's the LPL, but this season is just so swingy. You get one good team fight. You get one team fight where you get multiple bounties, or you're able to push out on waves, and the game kind of just ends right there on the spot. We're seeing items starting to get completed, and we talked about the break point here for top esports being 2 or 3. I would say very similarly, LGD have a lot of power on their team right now, especially I look at a 3 item being on the cards here for Mbessa, already available for Heng. If Tangyuan's able to finish this Zhonya's, he is going to be a massive threat.
On the other side, though, Creme just finishing off the Shadow Flame right before this potential fight for the Chemtech Soul. We see JackeyLove getting close to that Spear of Shojin, but I don't think he's going to have opportunity to reset just yet, so fortunately not going to hit that breakpoint on the Ezreal, but TES still have some members that really can scrap things out, including Tian on this Xin Zhao. Has the Guardian Angel, so can really play with his health bar, but it's the backline that is getting targeted once again by Burdol. He flashes somebody to try to land the Encore. The Wild Growth going to allow for Zhuo to go down. 1-0 already for LGD as the Equalizer comes out and doesn't do a whole lot on top esports' side. Crescent Guard buying a lot of time for Tian as the Guardian Angel been pocked by Heng, and he has to use a safeguard to try to get away. Shockwave lands onto Shaoye, and top esports find yet another kill. It is still 3 members of LGD on the run, but 4 on TES are still looking for an opportunity. Tian hunting, leading the charge here, but it looks like at the very least they'll be able to start up this dragon and try to deny the soul.
Oh, Tian!
Goes the audacious charge, finds the wind, becomes lightning onto Burdol, who has just teleported back into the fray. And now Zuian arriving as well. Tangyuan coming back in for a teleport, but top esports has spotted out, and he's not going to be able to do anything to try and continue this engage. The dragon resets, and now LGD could try to come back in and try to claim the soul.
What are we doing? Why are we doing yakety sacks here? Heng, send it, brother. That's a Lee Sin Q with a one-way trip on it.
Oh, thought about the 50-50. Ends up backing away. They don't want to go for the full 5v5, and TES going to deny the soul.
Please tell me that what I saw was right. Zhuo flashed after the Mbessa ult, and that stops Heng from kicking this Seraphine into his team. If that happens, if this on top of the Purgatory from Lock low comes down, they may have found that kill. Here's this play again. Burdol from Fog of War finds this ult. Heng is not quite in position. Flashes back when it was onto JackeyLove. Gets him out of the Purgatory. Maybe if they have that damage, they can find it. But Xiaoya's nowhere nearby. He's hitting Zuian, who has a TP shield on him. It doesn't matter that the Equalizer doesn't do anything here. I think LGD just sent it without their DPS or their damage dealers in the right spot. And now that gold we were talking about, 7,000 gold. Hey, we were looking at them looking for a Dragon Soul. Now it's delayed by another 5 minutes. This is where it starts to get really dicey here for LGD.
And now the items really coming in. A Seekers for Zuian will add to his defensive ability. Shojin finished off for JackeyLove as well. And Tian did not end up losing that Guardian Angel, while Heng did on the other side. So that is a big cooldown that top esports also have at their disposal for any potential scraps around this Baron over the next 2 to 3 minutes of time. We're getting closer to that 30-minute mark here, Alk. LGD still holding on to a gold lead, but it's top esports that are starting to feel a little bit of that momentum once again.
If Heng dies and gives up this shutdown, that is the game. And we called it earlier, but That was when it was a 7,000 gold lead. Now that 1K is going to look a lot tastier here. Heng's by himself, but he's a level 16 Lee Sin. And look at the items coming on through. I mean, the Seeker's Arm Guard for both of the solo laners of TES. And JackeyLove with this Shojin and Trinity Force is actually really tanky. When are we expecting an 80 carry to suddenly have plus 650 HP? That's not usually something a lot of marksmen are able to index into, but Ezreal's one of those few champions who gets access to them. LGD need to find some kind of miracle, some kind of pick play, and it comes off the back of Lee Sin or Mbessa.
You could feel that, not desperation, but just kind of fear on their side of not being in a good enough position to win a full-on 5v5. So LGD playing very aggressive, looking for these picks that their composition is very strong at accomplishing. But Top Esports are aware of it as well. They're grouping up nicely. They're making sure that they're playing the buddy system, right? JackeyLove and Creme kind of always together. Tian not too far away from anybody. Make sure that none of their carries end up going down, because that is the ticket that LGD need to regain firm control of this game.
Welcome everybody. We're playing the CNA RAM. Okay, we're putting 4 people on mid. Side lanes are for noobs. We're just going to be sitting, trading waves, ping-ponging them back and forth until an objective spawns. So 2 minutes before that, with Dragon spawning, LGD are going to be first on the wave here. Are there any item spikes we could see for these players? It doesn't seem like it. Burdol's been sitting on Eclipse. Oh, he went... Wait, why did he go Iron Sigil plus Hex Shrinker?
Wants both defensive abilities, I guess. Really wants the Guardian Angel. So we'll see if that ends up biting him in the back, as now it's an enchanted crystal arrow landing onto JackeyLove. He buffers it with the arcane shift. Not a ton to fight for around this dragon pit. The Drake's now spawning for another 75 seconds, but Top Esports really want to gain their control around this bottom side river. They have the mid lane push as well, as they will send their resources now up towards the top side, with the Baron potentially being the target.
Ashe Ultimate is a rather low cooldown, so likely it'll be up before this next dragon. And you say there's no objective. I saw the Rift Scuttle there. That is basically a miniature dragon in the pit at all times. Massive amounts of AoE in the vision, and LGD did get it, so they have this vision of Zhuo recalling. I wonder if they just try to make a play after he finishes the recall. They also have vision of JackeyLove, which could be very problematic.
Things have grinded to a halt in this game one. It's 21-10 about 5 minutes ago. Still remains the case now as we set up for this eventual soul fight that LGD are gonna want to claim for themselves. It is Shaoye who immediately gets targeted by Tian, but the wild growth goes on top of him. Zuian could be in some trouble now, though, as Heng and Tangyuan are going to try to chase him down. He flashes away, and that's another big cooldown not available for the Rumble, as the Dragon does end up coming back alive. Notably, Heng has his GA back up, so that cooldown once again at his disposal. What a kick by him! And Creme's already down! Crescent Guard comes out from Tian, though. He's buying a lot of time and still has his GA. Burdol with the public execution finds Zhuo, but it's a double kill already for Tangyuan, and he's looking to clean up the rest. A triple for the lock. Chasing down Tian and has the Ash in pursuit. Ritual Nail's going to try to chase him down. It's going to be a quadra kill for Tangyuan. Zhuo on the wrong side of the map. Tangyuan's going to look for the penta, while the rest of his team will look for the game. LGD smash the fight around the Drake, and they will be able to not get the penta for Tangyuan, but pick up a game 1 win over Top Esports.
4 kills, but I also explode their Nexus. Yeah, I'll take that trade any day of the week. LGD being able to bounce back and maybe abusing a post-nerf lock to get themselves a win. Him and Heng look unstoppable in this game 1.
Top Esports had won 10 straight games of League of Legends. Their last loss was in Week 2 against LGD. And guess what their next loss ended up being? The next time these two teams faced off again in Game 1 of their series. It's LGD once again here, opening up this best of 3 with a win and snapping TES's long-standing win streak, which was the longest active streak in the LPL until now.
Until about a minute ago. Good job, LGD. Getting it done, but we always come back to the same conversation with this LGD team here in Split 3. What else is next? Can you close out this series? Because looking at their series record so far, the only 2-0 that they have taken It's against the worst team here in the group in Edward Gaming.
And when you look at the rest of the schedule that they have played, they've been able to take games against pretty solid teams. I think they took one off of BLG, JDG. They got really close to a win against Thundertalk last week. They just have not been able to fully finish out a best of 3 against one of these top level teams. Doing it against a team that currently resides in first place would certainly be a good thing. And, you know, a little added bonus here for LGD. They could deny Top Esports officially locking a playoff spot for another day. Playing that spoiler is something that these bottom teams are going to want to continue to do as this regular season continues on, and that'd be a small win for them as well.
Pretty big boon. Good job, LGD. They snowballed an early game lead. They leveraged this Lee Sin and this lock. I know the early lane looked really suspect, but once you get a recall in, the champion just looks untouchable, man. Like, I hope Riot takes a look at his W. I know he just got nerfed on 2615, but there's just no reason for an assassin to have basically a full HP shield and still have damage resistance while he's in this form. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff. We've killed champions for less in the balance class. So please, can we take a look at this? But I'm happy with more answers into Orianna. I know we were starting to get sick of this champion for most of the year.
I mean, it's been pretty B1able in a lot of games. Creme tried to do that again here today, but Tangyuan had the answer, and LGD have the win. Damage charts look pretty good for Tangyuan, pretty obviously, I would say. Burdol also, I think, having a pretty good game, but really here for LGD, we have to talk about Heng and his Lee Sin, because it was that early game that was driven by him that ended up giving them that early game lead that they eventually threw some of away, but ended up coming back and still winning the game with it.
I feel like fans almost think of Lee Sin as always being like evergreen. Like, yeah, we've seen Lee Sin. I just want to remind everybody that Lee Sin was not at all popular for like the last 3 years of the game. And so being able to see him come back, I was worried that we were going to get a lot of like older Lee Sin play where we're just kind of going around, we're getting some kills, but the champion looks like a do-nothing guy. He is smurfing. They continue to buff this champion time and time again. They really want to get some like fun, high mobility, high APM junglers back in the league. I don't know, man. He was really gliding on this champ, and this mid jungle has been the kind of keys to success when we look at LGD this split.
I feel like a lot of the junglers here, I'm going to continue to say it, have really looked good in Group Ascend. Even from some of these bottom teams, like Heng, you know, a player that is getting that first opportunity here on a Group Ascend lineup. Last year on OMG, really having a rough go of things, but getting another opportunity here in the jungle position for LGD and really making the most of it against some of the top level competition that we have here up in this higher echelon of gameplay that he really hasn't been exposed to very much.
He got to experience it a little bit when he was on that WE team in summer of 2023. That team was crazy. They went on like this. They started off the season really hot, and then they went to the Road to Asia games, and they actually did pretty well there. They win that tournament, but because they had all of that time, they didn't get to play LPL at the same time. They come back, and they completely fall off the line. There's just no ability for them to come back. That lineup was Cube, Heng, Shanks, Hope, and Iwandi. We've had some times where this guy looks good, but this is, again, another level. We're seeing a lot of our top teams not be as solid. Part of that is the meta. This season has been very, very volatile. Top Esports also they couldn't play their composition. They were supposed to have strong lanes going into these matchups, but Zuian got countered, or he got a lot of picks going topside, which I think were great from LGD. Mid lane got blown open. Like, there's not much you can do as Top Esports. This was just a really well-played game here from LGD.
It was a game that TES couldn't afford to let get out of control in the early game, and that is what LGD were able to do. And that is always a feel-good moment for a team when you lock in a composition with a very specific goal in draft. You end up accomplishing that goal, and then you end up picking up the win. That's all of the boxes checked for LGD here in this opening matchup. But again, the story always is, what can they do in the remainder of the series? Can they pick up that second game win to give themselves only their second series win here in Group Ascend? They're going to have to continue to try to pick these up for themselves if they want to try to jump Thundertalk, jump some of these other teams, try to make sure that they are not the ones playing in Knights Rivals at the end of the split.
That's what it matters, right? When we talk about game score, you see that 1-7 for LGD. You might not believe that this team is 6-14, 7-14 now, but when you have a -7 game differential, that is what kind of makes or breaks if you're not already matching in series score. So they have a ton of catching up to do so far this split.
It's a 13% series win score, but a 33% game win score. That's a 20% difference in the amount of games that they've been able to take. If they can start to turn some of that around, averaging out to, you know, about a 33% win record, that might be enough to get them into the top 6, a guaranteed spot in the upper bracket of the playoffs, and a chance to at least have that extra life, and also to avoid a team like NIP or IG who is hungry for success down in Nirvana. Player of the game goes over to Heng. I think you could have given it to him or Tangyuan, but he was just such a driving factor here of this early game.
He was really good. He was extremely clean and definitely deserved it for this Lee Sin performance. We're going to continue to see MVP Lee Sins. It's just how it goes with this kind of champion. 7-1-16. That is really good. And now, does LGD close it out? Can they get a 2-0, or are they going to prolong the suffering and send us to a Game 3?
Listen, man, I'll take a 2-1 for LGD as well. Just any win in any form for them to at least snap this 7-series loss streak, and what a way for them to potentially do it against the hottest team in the league entering week 4. Game number 2 coming up after this short break. We'll see if LGD can finish off the sweep when we return on LPL English.